What is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk, the show where we cover the SWAC inside and out. I am your tour guide around the SWAC, Steve Wells, coming at you. And we're going to go ahead and talk about the big game yesterday, the SWAC Championship Game, Jackson State 2021 SWAC champs. Congratulations to the Blue Bengals on a very good season, 11-1. 9-0 overall, and 11-1 overall, 9-1, 9-0 in conference. Congratulations on the big win, Prairie View. Still made a good showing, finishing the season at 7-5 with a 6-2, with 6-3 record counting the championship game. So really good season by both teams. Jackson State wire to wire SWAC champs. So we're gonna talk about that game and talk about the action that took place in this game. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Before we do that, as usual, the socials are down below on the screen, so feel free to check those out. Feel free to drop a little donation in the Cash App if you so choose to. $ Swag Talk. Feel free to do that. While you're here, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell because this is coaching carousel season. So any day from now until whenever news of coaching hirings and firings are going to take place. So videos will be dropping whenever that news happens. So don't miss out on any information that comes through. So hit that notification bell, like videos, share them, and comment, whenever you want. We can chop it up in the comments. So all of that out the way, man, let's go ahead and talk about this game. Jackson State defeats Prairie View by a score of 27-10. This game was a typical Jackson State 2021 game, man. The defense just really played lights out from the opening snap. They made they made Juwan Pass very uncomfortable from the start. I think they got a sack on the first or second play of the game, and they kept constant pressure on him. Honestly, to the point where I feel like he was feeling pressure when it wasn't even there. He rushed a lot of throws. The defense did a good job of turning him over. Prairie View had 5 turnovers on the night. Prairie View's defense played well. I mean, if you look at the score, it's 27-10. A lot of people are gonna say the defense didn't play well, but the defense gave up 2 offensive touchdowns, and the special teams gave up a touchdown, and the defense of Jackson State scored a touchdown. So the Prairie View defense gave up 13 points, and did a good job against Shadur and the offense. They played a lot of zone coverage. They dropped a lot of men off in coverage, and basically did not allow them to get the passing game going. And we'll talk about the stats in a couple of minutes. But this game, like I said, was a game that Jackson State needed every point that they got. They actually trailed this game 7-0 when Jaylen Howard caught a 35-yard pass from Ty Holden on a trick play. Prairie View struck first with 3 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the first quarter. A minute and 4 to go in the first quarter. Malachi Wiseman caught a 16-yard pass from Shador Sanders. Prairie View got a field goal with 6 minutes and 38 seconds left in the second quarter from Luis Reyes for 37 yards out. And immediately Jackson State got right back on the board when Isaiah Bolden returned the kickoff, 91 yards for a touchdown, giving Jackson State a 13-10 lead. The extra point was no good, and that was our halftime score. And at that point, it was feeling like a Jackson State game, man. Like you knew the score was close, but you didn't really feel that Prairie View was gonna be able to make any plays to get themselves over the hump. You felt like all Jackson State had to do really was stay the course, and they would win this game. But Prairie View, defensively, they stayed strong all night. They had held Jackson State to no third down conversions in the first half, and they played a good defensive game. Offensively, they just made too many mistakes. A big one came with 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third quarter when James Houston had a 5-yard interception return for a touchdown. Extra point was good, 20-10, was the score at that point. And then with 2 minutes and 39 seconds to go in the third quarter, Peyton Pickett had a 5-yard touchdown run to make the score 27-10. And after that, there really wasn't much to be done in the game after that. After Jackson State scored that touchdown. Prairie View didn't do much. Um, they were able to kind of force some things, but nothing really. They could get nothing going. After that, they got the ball at their 25. They drove to their 24. And they drove to their 44 and punted. Jackson State got the ball and ended the third quarter. Prairie View would get the ball back at the at the Jackson State punt. Prairie View got the ball at their 20. Drove the ball to the Jackson State 35 before they fumbled um, to give Jackson State the ball back, and then that pretty much sealed the deal. So Prairie View just never really could get anything going offensively, anything consistently offensively during this whole game. 14 first downs on the night, 16 for Jackson State, 100 yards rushing for Prairie View, 148 for Jackson State, 3.4 yards per rush for the Tigers, 2.6 yards per rush for the Panthers, and one touchdown for JSU. No rushing touchdowns for Prairie View. 130 yards passing for Prairie View, 10 of 27, one touchdown, three interceptions. Jackson State, 85 yards passing, 8 of 16, one touchdown, one interception. So, like I said, the Prairie View defense did their job. Jackson State only threw the ball 16 times, so they really leaned on their run game. They ran it 44 times, so that's a very un-Jackson State-like offensive attack. So that had a lot to do with what Prairie View was doing defensively, and that they were successful in that. Total offense, Jackson State 233 yards on 60 plays, 3.9 yards per play. Prairie View 230 yards on offense, 65 plays, 3.5 yards per play. They had two fumbles, and they lost them both. Jackson State no fumbles. 5 penalties for 55 yards for Prairie View, 5 penalties for 35 yards for Jackson State. So not a highly penalized game at all. 42-yard average per punt for Prairie View on 6 punts. Jackson State punted 6 times for 35-yard average. Time of possession, 28 minutes and 15 seconds for Prairie View, 31 minutes and 45 seconds for Jackson State. 3 of 12 on third down for Jackson State, 4 of 15 for Prairie View. 2 for 2 for the Panthers on fourth down, 1 for 2 for the Tigers on fourth down. 1 of 1 in the red zone for Prairie View, 2 of 3 in the red zone for Jackson State. 3 sacks for Prairie View and 4 for Jackson State. The way this game was going, man, I really would have figured that Jackson State may have had more sacks, but they made Juwan Pass very, very uncomfortable in that pocket, man. They flushed him out a good bit. They made him rush throws. He threw a couple throws that he could have hit guys down the field. He threw them either too early or he just was off target. He threw a really bad interception on a wheel route where he threw the ball way too late. He just never looked sharp, and that's a huge credit to Jackson State, what they did defensively. Juwan Pass, 6 of 19 on the night, 80 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 43 yards was his longest pass. He was sacked 4 times. Ty Holden, 1 for 1 for 35 yards and a touchdown. Chazon Connolly, 3 of 7 for 15 yards and no touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks. Shador Sanders, 8 of 16. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times for 85. He had 85 yards passing. Longest completed pass on the night was 19 yards. That's a very un-Jackson State-like passing attack. Connolly led the Panthers in rushing with 10 carries for 53 yards. No touchdowns. He averaged 5.3 yards per carry. Pass, 13 carries, 32 yards. 11 yards was his long, 2.5 yards per carry. This number here is probably, to me, the biggest issue in the game for me for Prairie View. Their running backs had 15 carries on the night for 15 yards. For 15 yards. Brooks, 10 carries, 9 yards. Amar Antoine, 5 carries, 6 yards. That's just not going to get it done. I know it's hard to run against Jackson State, but your running backs combining for 15 carries for 15 yards is a recipe for disaster. They just could not get anything done. They had 42 yards lost rushing. 2.6 yards per carry on the night. Peyton Pickett, 19 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry. Santi Marshall, 13 carries, 50 yards, 11 yard long, 3.8 yards per carry. He had a couple nice runs in the game to kind of extend some drives. Lyles, 1 carry for 1 yard. Moultrie, 2 carries for -3 yards. Sanders, 9 carries, -7 yards. Jaylen Howard was the leading receiver for Prairie View with 4 catches for 93 yards. He was missed on a couple big throws. One I know he had got behind the defense and passed, overthrew him by like 3 yards. That could have been a big play. He had a pass that he almost caught and didn't come down with it. So he had a couple plays that he could have made. Trajan Spiller, 1 catch for 23 yards. Howard did have a touchdown on the night, 43 yards of his long. Holden, 2 catches, 14 yards. Rucker led Jackson State with 2 catches for 31 yards and 19 yards of his long. Kylan Ritchie, 1 catch for 18 yards. Really nice catch on a 3rd and 15. I think it was I think it was 1st and 15. He had a diving catch for that 18-yard gain. Weidman, 1 catch, 16 yards and a touchdown. Corbin, 2 catches, 10 yards. Pickett, 1 catch, 7 yards. Newman, 1 catch for 3 yards. Travion Green led Prairie View with 8 tackles on the night. Trayshawn Smith, 6. Jason Dumas with 5. He was a monster in this game. Tariq Mulmore had 5. He had to come in. He came in reserve and had a pretty good game. Rashad Powell, 5 tackles. Darius Campbell, 4 tackles. Drake Cheatham, 4 tackles. Presley, James, and Reese with 3 tackles apiece. Tackle for loss, Dumas, 4.5. Green, 2. Powell, 1. Cheatham, a half a tackle for loss. Sacks, Powell, Dumas, and Green each had 1. Interception was by Darius Campbell. Jackson State was led by Aubrey Miller with 9 tackles. Keontae Hampton with 6. Houston with 5. Owens with 5. Stillman Craig with 4. Shiloh Sanders with 4. Arrington, 4. Haney and Reagan each had 3. Tackles for loss, Hampton, Reagan, Arrington, Haney, Miller, Houston each had 1 tackle for loss apiece. Owens and Davis each had a half a tackle for loss. Sacks were by Hampton, Reagan, Arrington, and Miller. Forced fumble was by Owens. Fumble recoveries were by Hampton and Reagan. Interceptions were by Stillman Craig with 2, and Houston with 1 that, like I said, he returned for a touchdown. Special teams, Caleb Darbon, 42-yard average for Prairie View punting on 6 punts. Lane McGregor, 6 punts for Jackson State for 35-yard average. Darius Campbell led the team in punt returns with 30. His long was 30 yards. His long was 25. The longest kickoff return they had on the night was 22 yards by Holden. Jackson State was led by Warren Newman with 5 punt returns for 71 yards. His long was 24. Bolden, 1 kickoff return for 91 yards and a touchdown. And that's pretty much how this game shaped up. I think Jackson State, like I said, they played a solid. They played a great defensive game. Prairie View's defense played a pretty good game as well. Offensively, neither team could do much. I think the defense has dictated this game, but Jackson State made enough plays in special teams and defense to win this game. A nice crowd of 50,000 plus in attendance. So that's a salute to the state of Mississippi. I know y'all turned out, so salute to everybody. Salute to the people from Texas that came through. Salute to all the other SWAC people that came through to support this game. And this was a really good look, man. I think this is the start of something that can be very special for this league. I think if the bar is being raised and everybody's going to have to respond and match what's going on in Jackson. So this can be something that can be great for everybody if everybody takes advantage of it. If y'all, when I say y'all, I mean us. If y'all allow Jackson to do it all and reap all the benefits, then the league is not going to do well. So everybody needs to match the energy that JSU is putting out and continue to raise the outlook and profile of this league. So Really good season for Jackson State. Prairie View had a rough ending to their season. They finished their season on a 4-game slide, but they had their opportunity. They could not take advantage of it. So now we have our Celebration Bowl set. South Carolina State's been sitting at home waiting, so they know they're gonna face Jackson State. That game is on December 18th, so that's in 2 weeks. Um, Atlanta, Ivy League Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 11 o'clock Central Time kickoff, 12 o'clock Eastern Time. ABC broadcast. This I think this is the first bowl of bowl season, so make sure you check that out. And this should be, this game will probably be another game like we see. South Carolina State's defense is decent. They have some really good corners, and the secondary is pretty good, and they're a well-coached team, so they're gonna come prepared. But I think Jackson State do what they do. So we'll preview this game as we get closer to it. Wednesday, we're going to start our SWAC basketball preview. We're going to kind of take an overall look at what's going on in the SWAC right now. Obviously, we're not in conference play yet, so a lot of records aren't what they're going to be at the end. But we'll talk about, what's going on in men's and women's basketball in the SWAC. Thursday, SWAC Smoke live episode as usual, and then Sunday, I don't know, probably some more basketball talk. And in between that, if any coaching news drops, we will talk about it. So make sure you stay tuned to SWACtalk and enjoy anything that comes through. So hopefully, there's some coaching news that we can talk about. So with that being said, I'm your tour guide signing out. You guys enjoy your Sunday, and I will holler at you on Wednesday.